As we continue with palpation, I'm now going to be moving to what's called the appendicular skeleton. So that's basically the limbs as opposed to the spinal column and skull. I'm going to start with the shoulder girdle or thoracic girdle on Libby. And the bone that's at the very top is actually her shoulder blade or scapula. Now, it's important because there's a lot of muscles and things going on here to create shoulder stability for proper forelimb movement. And how you can orient yourself is if you kind of take your flat hand, you'll feel a ridge. So I can feel it right there going at an angle all the way from the top to the bottom, like so. That is the orientation of her shoulder blade. This ridge is called the spine of the scapula. And again, very important to kind of know where that shoulder blade is. As you follow it up, you'll find a point here on the back side, and that's called the dorsal angle of the scapula. A lot of times we rehabbers like to massage through that area because there's a lot of tension that's held by dogs around this area of the shoulder blade. As you follow the spine of the scapula the other direction, you will find a knob here on the front of the shoulder. That indicates where the actual shoulder joint or glenohumeral joint is. If you're very discerning, you might feel two bumps. One is the acromion and the other is the head of the humerus. So that's a ball and socket that sits right here, way up high. The humerus comes down, and the next thing that we can readily feel is the elbow joint because there's three knobs on the elbow joint. The outside is called the lateral epicondyle. The inside is called the medial epicondyle, and that point on the back side is called the olecranon. So that's very near the funny bone like we have for people as well. Dog's anatomy and our anatomy is very similar. So if in doubt, I bet you could figure it out by feeling your own bones and such. We're going to continue down as the leg tapers, and then you're going to feel some bumps again. This is indicative of the mini bones that make up the wrist or carpus of the dog. There then is the digits or phalanges. They're lumpy and bumpy because they're made up just like our fingers of many different segments. And on the bottom side are various foot pads that we need to pay attention to make sure that they're in good shape. After all, that is their shoes. The foot pads feel quite leathery, and I'm going to talk a little bit later and go into more detail about the anatomy of the foot.